everyone, Old School Pokemon here, back again with my co-host Catch 'em All Collectibles, Dan, for podcast episode number 3. Moving right along. How are you doing tonight, Dan?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited for this episode. Got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
So, as per usual, we'll start off with the questions that we received in the previous podcast. And for anyone watching this podcast, feel free to leave your questions in the comments below, and we'll pick out the few of the best questions. For this episode, we actually picked out all 3 questions because there were only 3 questions. But when we get more questions eventually, we'll pick out the best few questions to answer, and we'll talk about those before we hop into the main topic of the video. So, first off, we've got GCS asks, what do you think the impact of PSA clearing out their backlog will be in 3 months from now when all of those cards come back? Do you think people will flood the market with those graded cards and cause prices to go down due to high supply? You want to start us off there?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting question, and my first reaction would be it's not going to be an avalanche of cards all at once. I personally have 5,000 or 6,000 cards there that I sent over the span of the past year. I still have a couple orders from last May that I haven't gotten back. So those aren't going to come all at once. They're going to trickle in roughly the same way I sent them out. So that's part of it. And then another thing, everybody would know who submits the PSA, but we're in a weird place. You can only submit cards now for $300 a card. So if you take something like this Jungle Eevee PSA 9, I can't even send more of those right now. It's not worth spending $300 a card to grade it. There's probably a lot there in their backlog that are gonna trickle out or flow out, but at least for the time being, I think they're kind of halted. So over the next year or two, we'll see the flow out of what's there. However long this break is, though, where no new ones are going in, it'll be interesting to see that dynamic, how it affects what flows in. Do we see a lot of these trickle out over the next year or two, and then a year lull before they show up again? Who knows?
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I do think it's not a matter of if as so much as it is a matter of when prices do decrease at least slightly. Because I think there's just like that the Jungle Eevee you got there. I think there's just people just submitted so many of those cards back in late summer, early fall, towards the end of fall, beginning of this year even. Their PSA has so many of those cards that the submissions won't all come flooding in at once. Everyone will receive their submission all at once. So that'll be helpful, but I do think there is going to be a dramatic increase in the supply. So I do think prices will definitely decline at least a little bit. I don't know how far down they'll go just because of PSA being shut down, which is actually a good point I hadn't thought of. Since they're shut down, there's really no new cards going into their system right now, which is a plus for pricing. But yeah, I do think plus the grading costs increasing, I do think there will be a new floor for those for pricing on those types of cards. But I do think it'll definitely decrease at least somewhat over the next couple months, maybe year.
Yeah, in cards like this, we have seen come down fairly substantially already. I guess I didn't really touch on that side of it. I do think they'll continue down, but say the pop on Eevee is going to grow 5x from what it is now or whatever. it's not going to do that. I think the question mentioned in the next 3 months. Like it's not going to do that.
Oh, and yeah, in the next 3 months. Yeah.
I forget who it is, but somebody on E4 is actually doing a good job tracking like weekly. I think he's coming out with an app or a website to track it a little better, but he's seeing like 50 plus card chunks of relatively obscure cards being sent in all at once. Like I think one of them was Bianca from Boundaries Cross or something, one of the waifus.
Yep.
And I think all at once more of them came back than had been in the pop prior. So for certain of the more dangerous low pop things, some of those it'll be more drastic, like an avalanche. But for ones with the pops in the hundreds and thousands, it'll feel more like a just a steady flow, and I think a steady flow down in pricing. But then longer term, what our new pricing floor is, who knows?
Yeah, it definitely won't. It definitely won't decline all the way back to what we had a year ago or so, and even going back further when PSA 9 commons and uncommons were $10 a piece. Well, we won't see that again.
Yeah, when I sent these, this was May, the Pokemania special for $7.50 a piece. I don't remember exactly what the prices were then, but I want to say that in my mind I was expecting 50 to 60 for a 10 and 25 to 30 for a 9. Maybe they were higher at that point, but like kind of getting into one of the later questions, like that's my price memory for these cards, some of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And those were margins I was happy to take. So like I sent 20, I think, in the submission that just came back. I've got 5,000 cards out there, and maybe 40 more of them are that EV. 50 more. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, no, I can believe it. Yeah, the problem is people like the pricing back when, like submissions that we're receiving now, the pricing back then it almost wasn't worthwhile to submit those types of cards, whereas nowadays it's absolutely worthwhile. So the amount of cards going into PSA right now is just absurd.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answered that question there. Next question is Dark Lava Lizard. One question for you guys would be, do you think grading companies would be able to pull off different rates for sports cards versus non-sports? As in, if the majority of the PSA backlog is sports, so the rumor goes, why not charge one price for sports card submissions versus TCG submissions? If they want to slow the intake, they need to slow where the majority of their submissions are without killing all the other submission types at the same time. To be fair, it likely costs the same for them to grade a sports card as it does a Pokemon card, but at this point, it's less about profit margin for them and more about capacity.
You want me to go first again?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just looking at history, they have done that, and I think they'll continue to. Just going back to this time last year, we had the Pokemania for $7.50, where I think the regular bulk was like 10. And then I think they had an ultra modern designation for sports at the same time that was 15. So you did see a 2x differential between Pokemon and modern sports. I definitely think that that's something they can do. That's a tool in their toolbox for equalizing their capacity with the demand for their service. I think we've been spoiled for too long with absurdly low grading prices. I mean, clearly, given their backlog and the state of what's going on right now. So I can see a future where the lowest retail price might be $30 a card, but then the specials will be really special. Like have a higher bar, and then when they're looking for cards, maybe not do quarterly, weekly specials, monthly specials, really bring in cards when they need them. Right now, they don't need cards; they've got too many. They've got to have more tools to quickly throttle demand. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there as well. I do think I was watching Pokemon Radar's podcast with Gary, the King and I podcast, and
Mhm.
that was actually a point. I think it was Gary brought up where the price floor for grading on a regular basis could be $20-$30 a card, but then these whatever type of specials that they run will get that price down to maybe we'll see $10 again. I doubt it, but between $10-$15 somewhere around there would be nice. I think that would be absolutely be the way to go. Where if they're absolutely flooded with cards, they won't offer a special like they did previously. But if they're looking for cards and their backlog isn't as crazy it is today, they'll be able to run one of these specials where they'll be able to get new cards to grade and kind of just keep up with the flow of how they're doing everything.
Yeah.
But I would be curious. I wish they would give us numbers or percentages as to how many cards of each category are there. Like what percentage of cards at PSA are sports cards versus Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Magic cards, whatever. That's something I've always been curious about.
I think there's been small things in recent articles where they've hinted at that, some percentages and this and that. That's one thing that the tool that the E4 user, I don't want to guess and say the wrong person, but they're going over this many cards were graded Pokemon and this many were from evolutions and this many were from hidden fates, and so that's not giving us the global thing, but maybe their tool could track how many are total done and what fraction of that is Pokemon, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with that.
Yeah, no, I know I forget that username's name as well. But I did see that thread, and it does look like it's gonna be an awesome site once he gets that up and running. Which that'll be nice. But the final question we got here is from Neusser PXE. With collectors that have been in the game before the price rises, I have a feeling that price memory keeps holding me back and makes me say things such as the market is inflated, overvalued. How does one get rid of the idea of price memory and realize that certain prices today may be the new price floor?
This one, I get where they're coming from because I've been back in the hobby pretty deep for 6 years now. So there's some cards that I've sold. I sold a PSA 9 first edition Charizard for $1,000, and then I've bought multiple at 2,000 and 3,000 and 5,000, and I've sold them. I've bought and sold in many of the ranges. So it's you gotta just adapt, if that's the word. You gotta just stay current with what's going on. And there's certain cards that I sold. I sold my PSA 9 Gold Star set a little over a year ago, unfortunately, before the big price rise. I've in my mind, I have that number. I know what I sold it for. I know what it's worth now. I'll probably never own PSA 9 Gold Star complete set again. Those are B binder cards, and that's fine with me. So I get where price memory can make you decide to make the decision to move on from certain cards or stop pursuing certain cards. But it's dangerous. You can't get stuck in, I refuse to pay this for that, because then you won't be buying anything. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. I think either it's I don't think the market's not going to dramatically decline to like what people are saying mostly on Facebook right now. They're all thinking Pokemon's in this huge bubble, and at one point it's going to pop, and we're going to go back down to 2015, 2016 prices. I highly doubt that'll ever happen, and you really need to just kind of reprioritize or rethink what goals you have within collecting. We've been spoiled for so long within Pokemon, where for the most part I got back in 2009, 2010. Back then grading really wasn't as big of a thing as it is today, but the people who did collect graded cards were all going for PSA 10s. You had a few people going for PSA 9s, but to collect anything below PSA 9 was non-existent, just because the pricing was so much different back then. But going to today's market, just go for a lower grade set or binder sets. There's still a lot of affordable options within the hobby. It's tough though, because you constantly hear about all this money people are spending and what other people have. So I can see where it's tough, where you might not be able to afford what you want, or what you could afford previously. But it's just a matter of reprioritizing your collection goals.
And I don't know if this was with respect to certain graded cards or anything of that nature, or maybe it was with respect to modern product. Maybe it was, I used to be able to buy and rip packs for $4 or $5 from Walmart, and now I can't. Now they're 10 on eBay or wherever. And my answer to that would be, that's going to change.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think the new price floor, I've heard things where, and I've actually seen things where my distributors are charging more for everything. Not substantially more, but 5% more, 10% more, maybe across the board, depending on the product. So I think the new retail pricing will be different. You won't see certain eBay sellers selling 5,000 boxes at $79.99 at release of the new booster box, but we'll get back to $100 booster boxes. I'm sure of it. And then maybe it'll be 6 months, maybe it'll be a year and a half, but I think the printers are going to spool up, combined with the demand going down to some extent. And I think modern will be available on the shelves again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At some point, you just got to be patient.
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually talking the other day. I didn't even think about that question from a modern perspective. I was just thinking vintage. So that's a good point you brought up there about maybe he was talking about modern product. But we were talking the other day about it's not a dramatic difference than it was back a couple months ago, but one of the distributors that we both work with, they actually have some product available on their website, and they basically allocate you a certain amount every week, and you can actually go onto their website and order a limited amount of, like, I ordered some shining faith product earlier this week, but it's getting to a point where there's more product available to purchase from distributors, whereas back even a month ago, there was nothing available on their website to purchase. It was all them just saying, you're allocated this much, do you want it? And if you said no, it would just go right to the next guy.
Yeah. So that was a promising development, as far as, like you said, having a little bit of selection.
Yeah.
I think we're headed in a good place with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it'll only improve going forward here. Once they get more printers up and running, more print facilities, once this COVID situation dies down a bit, more people being able to go back to work at these facilities, it'll definitely help improve the situation, and you'll see your Targets and Walmarts restocked at some point here. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
So that's all the questions we got for this episode. Like I said, if you guys have a question you want us to talk about, leave it down in the comments, and we'll pick out the best few questions to answer. Before we hop into the main topic, the other thing that we want to mention is stuff that we're buying and stuff that we're selling. Do you have anything cool that you've been buying or selling lately?
If anybody's clicked my eBay link, they'll know that I only have about 30 listings up right now.
You're slacking there.
I'm doing a little bit of reorganizing and restructuring. Something I'll get into a little bit later in our talk about the various selling platforms. I've outsourced a lot of my selling, capitalizing on some promotions that were out there last month. But one thing I am working towards buying for my personal collection, late last year, I filled out my ETB collection, and I bought like multiples of each because I just wanted to have a really mint example. and that panned out really well. If anybody's followed ETB prices recently, right now what I'm doing, similar kind of, the build and battle and the pre-release boxes. I had most of them. Some of them were less than mint. Some of them I wanted to get more of because they felt like a relatively undervalued thing with I mean, some of these Sun and Moon booster boxes are doing crazy things right now, and I don't think the build and battle and pre-release boxes have seen proportional moves yet, and they're a really niche product. ETBs were, though, a year ago. I think they've become a lot more mainstream. I'm not necessarily making it as like a play. It's more of a collection goal. So that's what I'm doing buy side, mainly just for my collection right now.
Nice. I haven't been doing too much buying at all since the last time we talked. I finally got my taxes back, or got how much I am gonna owe in taxes, and that really hurt. So I've definitely cut way back on the buying this month. Haven't bought too much at all. But I bought 25 Ancient Mews. They're not sealed, but they should be in mint condition, hopefully. I paid it was either 15 or 20 bucks a piece for them. So hopefully they'll be mint, and I'll be able to grade those and do decently well on those. The other thing, I am going to hopefully be making one big purchase this month. I won't say what it is, but if you follow PWCC, there's a certain PSA 9 card that I really want. And if you know what I collect, you probably know what the card is already. But
I think you've just told everybody. I think you've given it away.
So if you see that card on there, don't bid on it, because I want to buy it for as low as possible. But yeah, that's really all I got for purchases. I did buy a bunch of Shining Faith product from my distributor. That was earlier this week, so that's another small purchase right there. But nothing too exciting there. So for the main topic of this video, one of the biggest questions that I get, whether it be through YouTube or Instagram or even eBay messages sometimes, which is, I don't understand why, but one of the biggest questions that I get is what's kind of the best platform to sell Pokemon cards, or just items in general. What's the best platform to sell on? So we thought we'd discuss that today, and we'll go over the platforms that we use to sell Pokemon cards. Obviously, most of our viewers are probably looking to sell Pokemon cards if they're looking to sell anything, so we'll focus on that. But the first one is pretty obvious. One of, if not the world's largest marketplace, which would be eBay. For me personally, that is by far my favorite platform for selling. That's where I sell the vast majority of the stuff that I sell, and I just think it's all around the best marketplace to sell on. Considering the reach that you get with the worldwide markets, I'm literally shipping items all around the world. If you don't want to ship all around the world, they offer a lot in terms of, they do their GSP program, where you can mail products to their facility in the United States, and they'll handle the international shipping. They just recently started taking over payments, so they removed PayPal from the equation, which received a lot of negativity, but in my opinion, it's a great move on their part.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then two more things recently, and then I'll let you jump in about eBay. Their standard envelope with tracking service, that is the tracking information on that service is pretty terrible. Hopefully that'll improve soon. But how easy it is to print out those envelopes now versus going one by one is so much of a game changer. That's cut out hours of my day, every single day. just that one service alone. And then something that's coming next month, I believe, is when they said it was going to be releasing, was they're going to try out a program similar to TCG Player, where within the trading card category, you can actually take your phone, open up the eBay app, and more or less just scan your cards to create eBay listings. Which I thought, I probably won't use that myself because I like to take my own pictures, but I thought that was another really good idea on their part.
Hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on eBay?
One thing I wanted to bring up, hands down, eBay is the best selling platform. I know a common thing that I see, and I just don't get it personally, is how expensive they are, and people want to save the fees. And in my experiences, the numbers that I can get on eBay compared to elsewhere more than pay for the fee. And I know that there's a lot of arguments about how slanted they are towards the buyer, but especially if you've got an established history with them. And I've had many times where they refund the buyer out of their own pocket. So they do it at no cost to me. They do have a reasonable seller protection, in my opinion. And just so that we establish what the fee is, with them taking over the managed payments, I think trading cards is 9 or 10%. Every category varies a little bit, between 8 and 12% maybe. And then the payment processing fee, it used to be 2.9% with PayPal plus 30 cents. Now it's 2.3, I believe.
Yep.
And then that goes, if you sell a $100,000 item, the payment processing portion would be $2,300. That goes as high as the payment goes, but the final value fee portion caps. So after we talk about eBay, we'll talk about some other services that might seem a little bit cheaper on the high end, but when you have a basic store subscription or higher with eBay, you do get a cap anywhere between $250 and $350 an item. So any item sold in excess of a few $1,000s, you start to see that 9% reduction in your fee, which is substantial.
Oh yeah, that's huge right there. So that's really all I got for eBay itself. Obviously, everyone knows about eBay. At least they probably do.
Yeah.
The next one, I guess, would, so the first few that we'll do is kind of individuals selling cards. So more work on your part, and then we'll kind of get into the other services. So the next one would be TCG Player, which is obviously really good for Modern, as well as just different Facebook groups as well. I don't know if have you ever tried selling on TCG Player or Facebook groups or anything like that?
I've never even bought on TCG Player. Facebook has a reputation.
Yes, it does.
I think it unfortunately lives up to its reputation many times, but one thing I've had great success with is a lot of the player promos, as far as like the World's participation promos and the World's Championship promos. So in spite of its issues, I participate relatively frequently in Facebook, just keeping my eye on what's out there, because occasionally big things will pop up. And TCG Player, do you buy or sell there?
So I was seriously considering starting to sell on TCG Player, just to kind of have another outlet for my modern product. But with once eBay introduced their standard envelope with tracking service, I kind of got rid of that idea of TCG Player, just because the shipping takes so long when you have to print out one label at a time.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave up on that plan, and I really don't have any experience with TCG Player, so I can't comment too much on that. But it is a viable option. At least I think it'd be better for Modern product, at least, just because that's I think most people that are going onto that site are either looking to collect Modern cards, or they're players looking to build decks with cards in rotation.
Yeah.
So I think it's better for modern cards at least. And their fee structure is similar to eBay, where it's around 10% or so, somewhere around there. So it is very similar to eBay. In terms of Facebook, I've tried to sell on Facebook a few times. It's always just been more or less just junky stuff that I don't want to sell on eBay. So I'll put it on Facebook, sell it for dirt cheap to see if anyone's interested in it, just to kind of more or less clear out some stuff that's just collecting dust. And I've done that a few times, and I really don't like selling on Facebook, just because you'll get so many people message you saying that they're interested in whatever item, and then you'll just never hear back from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are just wasting your time on Facebook, which is unfortunate. But in terms of buying, like you were saying, I'm on the different Facebook groups. I don't even know what groups I'm a part of, but I'm a part of a bunch of different Facebook groups for Pokemon, and I'm on there every single day, multiple times a day, just looking for different collections to purchase. And I've been buying a lot of collections off of Facebook, where I used to buy a lot of collections off of eBay. I think I'm actually buying more off Facebook than I am on eBay, which is surprising.
I've bought more and more recently from there. I guess a consideration just to bring up, it's relevant to people. Some people don't have a Facebook account for privacy concerns and this and that, and there's definitely a lot less anonymity. And I've had issues with buyers on eBay that they see my eBay name and they see my return address that's a PO box. You do lose that with Facebook. It's your face generally, and it's your name, and they click on your profile and they see who your friends are. I mean, I've seen some people, again, Facebook living up to its reputation, but people getting into mudslinging matches and bringing family members into it and this and that. And some of that is just like, I'll never try to sell on Facebook. Occasionally I'll buy. And I've generally, I don't think I've ever had issues. I always pay goods and services, and I don't have an issue.
Yeah. Oh, the biggest thing that annoys me on people selling on Facebook are it's a lot of immature people, in my opinion, where these people want to act like they're big businesses, selling a ton of stuff, yet every single item they sell, it'll be the description, and then at the bottom it'll be buyer pays shipping plus goods and services fee.
Yeah.
And that just annoys me so much. I hate seeing that. If you're going to have a business, or even if you're just going to sell some stuff, there's going to be costs involved. You're going to have costs that you have to cover, being the seller, and to make the buyer pay all those costs, to me, is just ridiculous. I'll scroll past any of those types of listings that I see, or if it's something really good, my offer will take into consideration I'm going to be paying the fee. So it's the same regardless.
Yeah, and that's, I was gonna just add in, sometimes you just gotta play their game. If they've got something that's you really want, or it's such a good opportunity for you, don't get hung up on, oh, I don't want to pay the fee. Just figure out in your mind what you want to pay all in. Gary is big on this on the forum. There's no such thing as a shipping fee. There's no such thing as a payment processing fee. Figure out what you would pay all into your door, whether you're paying that for the item, or you're paying this for the item, this for shipping, this for the PayPal fee, this for their packaging service fee, whatever. Like, if you're happy with the all-in number, go for it, and try to not, because you can like nitpick away deals entirely. Unfortunately, that is a common thing in the Facebook world. So there's been times where I'll iron out a deal for $5,000, and then they're like, I sent you an invoice for $5,030, and it's just like, I just pay it. I mean, sometimes if it's something I could give or take, I've walked away from deals over that too, where it was like borderline to begin with, and you just gotta pick your battles, and it's a frustration you'll see though, for sure.
Oh yeah. No, that's yeah, definitely. Um, so those are kind of the only. Obviously, you have other lesser known things for like individuals selling stuff, but those are kind of the biggest ones that I think would be the best options. Obviously, you got like Craigslist and OfferUp and Letgo, but I don't think those really apply too much.
Mercari too, I think.
Oh
There's
yeah, yep,
there's probably a bunch, but
yeah,
for me, out of that first several that we mentioned, eBay is the only one I sell on.
yeah,
Though Facebook I do buy, as I said.
yep, yeah, definitely. I'm the same way. eBay for selling, Facebook for buying. Absolutely. So getting into some of the other services that we'll just go into further detail on because they're kind of lesser known. Um, the first option would be fulfillment type services, and obviously when you think of fulfillment type services, probably the first thing that you think of is Amazon. So that was one of them we have listed, but I don't know of anyone who sells Pokemon on Amazon. I'm sure there's some people because there is a ton of Pokemon listed on Amazon, but the bigger one that we wanted to talk about was the Troll and Toad EVO program. Do you want to get us started on that one?
Yeah. So I love the Troll and Toad Evo program. I think anybody, because I've bought from them for a few years now, just random singles here and there, mostly for my binder. So anybody who's bought from them, you'll see the seller logo to the left side of where you select your item quantity, and Troll and Toad will be sold by them, fulfilled by them. But occasionally you'll see it'll just be a generic logo, EVO merchant. That's somebody who hasn't uploaded a picture yet. But occasionally you'll see TCA Gaming. You'll see Old School Pokemon. You'll see Catch 'em All Collectibles. Those are individuals or businesses like us who send our items in. You basically itemize them. You itemize a list. You pack it in order. You ship it off to Troll and Toad, and they do all the fulfillment. They do all the customer service. And I think it's an amazing service for getting rid of not like true bulk cards that you'd sell off for 3 or 4 cents a piece, but for like bulk quantities of 50-cent, $5, $10 cards. I mean, I know you sell a lot of those on your eBay too, but me personally, having a full-time job and just doing this on the side, anything that's sub 25 and anything that's raw really goes to them, and they do all the work.
Yep.
I feel like I have a lot more to say on them, but I'll let you give some more comments, and then I'll talk a little bit more about my experiences with them.
Yeah, so I really like the EVO program as well. I wish I knew about it sooner because I think it's probably been about a year now since I've known about Troll and Toad, the EVO platform on Troll and Toad. So I've been selling on there for about a year now, and the majority of what I sell are those bulk type cards that you'd normally get 3-4 cents a piece for. Because I sell those all individually within my eBay store, and what I normally do is I keep 10 copies of each card for my own eBay store, and then everything else gets packaged and shipped to Troll and Toad for them to sell on their website, which is awesome because they handle everything in terms of packaging the orders, shipping the orders, customer returns they'll handle. One of the biggest perks about EVO is, at least from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if someone does return an item, so they purchase an item from you on Troll and Toad ships the item, and the buyer returns that item to Troll and Toad doesn't charge you back. They just add that into their inventory and resell it as their inventory. So you don't have to deal with returns at all, which is a huge perk. You don't have to deal with shipping at all, which is another huge perk right there. The only downside that I have with the EVO program is they have a minimum amount that you have to accumulate before they actually issue you a payout, and you have to have $250 in your account before they issue you your payout. So you do, depending upon what you want to send to Troll and Toad, you might have to send them a lot of cards or just wait a long time to receive a payout. Um, we kind of have different products at Troll and Toad, me and you. I
Mm.
do a lot of those bulk type cards. Like I said, I think I have just under 20,000 cards at Troll and Toad right now. And this entire month, the majority of my inventory is selling on Troll and Toad for 20 cents a piece. They take a 50% commission on those sales. Anything, I think it's under a dollar and under is a 50% commission.
Yeah.
So after their fee, I'm netting 10 cents a card. But it took me a whole month to accumulate or to make $250 on Troll and Toad. And that's having 20,000-ish cards there. So it does take a while when you're selling individual cards at a 10 cent a piece or 20 cent a piece, but after their fee it's 10 cents a piece. But depending upon what you sell, it could take a little while. That's the only downside in my opinion for Troll and Toad anyway.
Mm. And my strategy personally, I've been just like breaking down a lot of modern product, and I'll open a couple hundred packs to build a set for myself, and then I'll grade some of the duplicate hits. But generally speaking, like the bulk from that, I'll just bulk the 3.5 cents per card, whatever it is now.
Yep.
I sent them, I think 600 Shining Fates packs from my haul of products that I got from Shining Fates. And it was crazy to me because this opens up like a discussion on marketplace arbitrage. At the same time that I was selling 36-pack lots on eBay of Shining Fates, unweighed, untampered, just taken from boxes and shipped out, $300 for 36. So $8.50 a pack, whatever that works out to.
Yeah.
I was selling them for $9.99 on Troll and Toad. So I guess this speaks a little bit to, you didn't want to be a buyer on Troll and Toad, but you wanted to be a seller.
Yeah.
I didn't do it because I had plenty of product to begin with, but the differential was so significant that you could actually buy from eBay, send to Troll and Toad, and I was netting slightly more on Troll and Toad after fees than I was grossing on eBay before any fees. So I think you mentioned that it's 50% up to $1.
Yeah. Yep.
In our notes
And
here,
then,
I think it's $1.09 it goes up to for 50%.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, from $1.10 to $70, it's a 15% fee plus 30 cents. So anybody who has issues with the 10% fee at eBay, they'll look at 15%. Oh my God, it's 50% higher. But you've got to remember, they're doing everything, customer service included, and there is no negative feedbacks and there is no chargebacks or anything of that nature because they take in your product, they verify it. And speaking to single cards, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I've actually sent, they only sell 2 conditions. They sell near mint and they sell, what do they call it? Moderate play, I think.
Moderate play, yep.
So I've sent 5,000 to 10,000 single cards of modern and vintage and everything in between. They have downgraded some of my cards. I must have overlooked a bend or a crease here or there, and they've rejected a couple cards because they were what they call damaged. And I got them back and they were damaged. I mean, it was a reasonable classification. I know that it's kind of a meme, Troll and Toad near mint, but in my experiences, they're classifying them pretty well. And for a lot of the cards that I'm sending, it's really hit or miss depending on what era it is. But I'm sending a lot of PSA 8 quality cards. I mean, maybe 9 quality cards too. Some of the modern, I mean, it's pack fresh, 9, 10 quality.
Yep, exactly.
But when you order near mint, it's not reasonable to expect mint or gem mint. And I think that's something that a lot of people run into, the whole meme thing. But as I said, a consideration too, where I mentioned that on eBay, a lot of times you can capture you can capture enough of a premium on eBay to cover the fee in its entirety. I'm finding the same thing on Troll and Toad. It's been a lovely service for me, where time is my most limiting factor, to just offload a lot of the fulfillment work on them. And I could go on for too long on this, but like one other thing they do that I haven't tested yet, but individual graded cards, you can send to them and they'll list them for $1 a piece. I haven't given too much thought to, I don't know if I sat down and if I photographed and listed how much money I could get, like how many of those I could get done in an hour, just to kind of see like what's the hourly rate I'd be paying them essentially.
Yep.
I've got to kind of calculate that and run the numbers, see if I like it. Plus also see, is there a differential on what these graded cards go for at Troll and Toad versus eBay? Maybe there is, maybe they're cheaper. I don't know, but I'm going to send them a batch of 10 to 20 to start to see how it goes.
That'd be interesting. I don't know. I have no idea how that would go. I don't know. Like for me personally, I've never thought to go onto Troll and Toad to look for graded cards. I used to buy a lot of WotC cards from them because the pricing was just dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it's usually just modern cards that I usually purchase from them, because like you said earlier, with the modern cards, most people selling modern cards on Troll and Toad, they're all pretty much gonna be pack fresh. At least from my experience. When you get to the WotC cards, condition can vary a little bit. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was just the amount of volume that they do every day.
Oh, it's
like
incredible.
I got a $250. I'll get a $250 payout this month, and I'm netting 10 cents a card. So I sold 2,500 cards through Troll and Toad in the course of a month, which is absurdly crazy to me. I was absolutely blown away to see how many cards they sell every day, just by looking at my account, who I'm a nobody selling on Troll and Toad compared to someone like Rusty at TCA Gaming. I'd love to know how much he's selling every day or every week or every month.
Yeah, just to give some of my numbers, I just pulled up on my app here. I've only been doing, I didn't mention, you mentioned you've been about a year. I've only been since February. I think I shipped my first shipment in January, and then it took a couple weeks to go live, because they're not as backlog as PSA, but it takes a few weeks for them to get your product listed. And February 1st, my first product went live, and I've sent them a total of 15 shipments now, I think 8 of which are live. I sold 200 items today. I ship 30 a week on my eBay. And that 200 items, that's everything from a $10 pack of Shining Fates, or I think they're like 9-ish now, all the way down to a 50-cent random promo, maybe up to a $50 promo. It's really all over the place. And I do 30 items a week on eBay. I do not have the time to ship 200 items a day, and they're just doing all of that. These are cards that I've accumulated over the past 5 or 6 years. I only have 6,000 items there right now, but I probably have 40,000 more to send them. It's just a matter of getting them out to them.
Yep.
And on that note, again, I don't want to go forever, but one service they offer is a raw fulfillment fee, they call it. So when you send itemized lists into them, they need to be unsleeved and they need to be put into the proper order. So they can't be in penny sleeves. Some people might cringe at that. If you send them a hyper rare Charizard or a shiny Charizard, these cards are like unsleeved, raw. You send them in a 1,000-row box, whatever you're shipping them in. So sometimes pack fresh cards do turn a little closer to near mint, just in the way they do business, the way they handle them. That's something to keep in mind from the buying side. But for the selling side, like I've got monster boxes, 5,000 count monster boxes of previous collection buys, and I've got some EX Air Reverse Hollows and like the nice ones with the set logo that are getting really hyped lately, and just hard gold, soul silver hollows and diamond and pearl hollows and ultra rares, level X's and primes, like near mint. Not stuff I can really grade, but I could send them a 5,000 count monster box theoretically, and I might soon. 6 cents per item. They'll do everything. They'll take it in, they'll itemize it, they'll sort it, they'll get it all listed into your store, and then you set the pricing. So you do set the pricing, but 6 cents a card. They will sort, they'll unsleeve them if they're sleeved. They will fully get them listed, and to some people who have the time to do that themselves, that's great. You can save that fee. You can do it all yourself. To people who have, because a lot of those cards are $2 cards, $5 cards, $10 cards of them. Paying
Yep.
6 cents each isn't a big deal. Like I'll pay 6 cents on a $5 card. My selling fee is 15%. So instead of paying 75 cents to sell it, I'm paying 81 cents. I mean,
Yep.
that's fine. These are cards that I have. They owe me nothing really. And one last thing, I promise. So I sent 600 Shining Fates packs to them. They offer what's called A-list breaks. Have you?
I was going to mention that. Yep.
Yep. So 2 cents a card. So there's 11 items, 10 cards, and 1 code card in a pack of Shining Fates, for example. So 22 cents a pack. They'll open your packs for you and do the same thing. Sort them, list them, fully list it all out. So I just recently placed an order they pulled 200 packs from my inventory on hold, and they're going to fully break those 200 packs. It'll be $44. I'm really just interested to do the numbers. Like, I know what I'm netting per pack on them, and I don't have any Shining Fates singles listed myself. So like when they populate my inventory, I can go in and I can calculate, okay, because you can export CSV file to open Excel of your inventory.
Yep.
So I can do that, and I can see, okay, I broke $1,800 in packs, and it turned into $1,200 in singles, or $2,500. I have no idea what it's going to be, but it's a really interesting experiment, and maybe I'll do a video on it or something.
That is interesting. I'd never thought about doing that. That's a good point right there.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. I mean, obviously you hit some big hits. 200 packs, there could be a lot of variance, but I'm really keen to see how it goes.
Yeah, and it's a huge time saver right there. I personally do. So it's similar to a PSA submission form, where you enter the card, you enter the quantity. I do all that myself, just personally. I gotta get better at more automating these processes, I guess, because right now I do the vast majority of what I do is I do myself. But at some point I'll get more automated and start passing on some work to people like Troll and Toad. The other thing I did want to bring up, which I don't think we touched on this at all, was you send your package to Troll and Toad. They receive your package, they look through it just to verify everything that's in there is listed on the sheet, make sure there's no discrepancies. Or if you do the raw fulfillment, they'll go through and get everything listed. And then once everything's listed on your account, it doesn't go live right away until you actually when you log into your account, you have the option to adjust the quantity that's showing as live. So if you have 10 of a certain card, you can list them one at a time. You can put 5 on at a time and hold the remainder within your back inventory. Which is quick story about that. I learned about EVO through Rusty TCA Gaming on his Patreon. And after I watched that video, I reached out to him via email and asked him a few more questions about EVO. And he said that one of the biggest things that he told me was to make sure that you utilize that backstock feature. Don't put everything available on EVO right away. And me being me, I didn't really think that was important. So I said, no, I'm not going to listen to you. So before I left for my 6-month-long trip, I sent a ton of stuff to Evo, whole bunch of WotC commons and uncommons. And this was back in April or May, so pricing really hadn't gone anywhere. And so I sent them a whole bunch of stuff. It all got listed right before I left. So I listed everything on Troll and Toad right before I left, and told myself, "Oh, this will be awesome! I'll be able to have sales coming in while I'm away working." Well, the ship that I was on didn't have access to Troll and Toad for whatever reason. The Troll and Toad website was blocked, so I wasn't able to look on Troll and Toad until we got into port. And by then, whatever, because like certain countries you don't have internet or whatever, but so by the time we got into a port where I could log on and look on Troll and Toad, my sales were through the roof. I had sold all those WotC cards just because the pricing on them was dirt cheap, because pricing had skyrocketed while I was away. So I sold everything for dirt cheap. So definitely recommend utilizing that backstock feature. And then the other thing is you can control your pricing. So on this same page, you can view what other people are selling these cards for, what the lowest price on Troll and Toad is, and you can update your pricing as regularly as you want. I'm normally not too good about that. I normally go through about once a month and just kind of make sure that I am the lowest price for everything that I'm selling. Most of my stuff is these 20-cent cards, and they do actually have the minimum that you can sell something for on Troll and Toad is 20 cents, which is nice because on these modern bulk cards, you're basically guaranteed once it sells, you're guaranteed to get 10 cents a card. Versus the since there's so many people selling these cards, the price floor of the cards doesn't go down to whatever 10 cents a piece, or where you're only netting 5 cents or whatever. So that minimum price is really nice on there. But that was the only other thing I wanted to bring up about Troll and Toad.
Two things we didn't mention, I guess. It is $20 a month, so it's $19.99 a month. And then if you want to be also duplicately listed on eBay, I think they'll only list items that are $3 and up or $5 and up. That's an additional $20. As of right now, I'm just on EVO. I haven't paid the extra $20 yet.
Yep.
And then we talked about this before we started recording, or maybe you mentioned it briefly, that there is
I don't think I did mention this.
1/3 of a cent storage fee per item.
Yep.
So like my storage fees on a few thousand items was $10 last month. A year's worth of more substantial.
Yeah, usually I'm paying it's between $40 and $50. But again, that's having 20,000 cards there, so it's not too bad.
And one thing that's surprising to me, because like I have ETBs there and I have packs there. An ETB costs 1/3 of a cent. I don't think an ETB counts as like an oversized item. If I sent them, like, they'd probably do an uncut sheet or something. I think those are $1 a month or something. Like certain really oversized items do have a more substantial fee.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, most normal size sealed or down to singles are 1/3 of a cent a piece.
Yep. Yeah, and that's every month, and they just take that out of what you've made. Or if you don't have that amount of money in your Troll and Toad account, then they'll actually bill you. But luckily I've never had have had that issue.
Yeah, I haven't had that issue yet either.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah. I think this turned into the Troll and Toad Evo podcast.
I know we better move on.
Yeah.
I think we discussed Troll and Toad enough, but I think that'll be good, because that's a big question that I get all the time is how does the EVO program work, and because there's a lot of people that don't know about it. I didn't know about it for the longest time, but definitely glad I found out about it.
Yeah, I just started, and I love it. Check it out.
Oh, absolutely. So the next one that we have listed here so we talked about the fulfillment services. We talked about individuals selling cards. The last one we have is consignment services, whether that be through an individual, like I know TCA Gaming, SM Pratt. They do a little bit with consignment services, but obviously the biggest one is PWCC. And if you want to talk about them, I'll just sit back and relax because
Yeah, so anybody who's familiar with PWCC, they have the monthly auctions. It's kind of a big event in the Pokemon community. A lot of different smaller communities. I think there'll be watch parties set up through Facebook, and there'll be watch parties set up through E4, Discord, various YouTube communities. I think some of the guys will live stream it on Twitch or YouTube. But it's a decent event every month. And last month, so this is kind of everything we said about EVO, you can set out tomorrow and you can get the ball rolling on starting it. One thing that kind of, the window closed on it, their 3 free promo in March. So there was this absurd deal where you could send unlimited quantity. It just had to be contained within 3 separate submissions. You could send them, they had to be graded cards, PSA, BGS, CGC, SGC maybe. But they call it curate. So they take high resolution scans, they add it into their vault. Normally there's a 1%, I believe, ingestion fee or intake fee. So say you submit a $10,000 card, that would have a $100 fee to submit that in and have them curate it and store it in their vault. And then the ongoing fees, I think they're a quarter of a percent to 0.5%.
I think it's a 1/4%. It's dirt cheap.
So again, but it would add up too.
Yeah.
A 1/4% on a $10,000 card again would be like $25, and that's annually.
I think so.
Yeah, it's got to be annually. It wouldn't be monthly. That'd be crazy. So
Yeah.
annually. But what they did in this 3 free promo in March, intake fee waived, storage fees waived for the life of the card. To me, when I first heard it, that's too good to be true. They say if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. I lifted the cover on this. I dove into the details. I read the fine print. I talked to other collectors. This is legitimate. You can kind of see their reasoning for it and their incentive. A lot of these cards that they're taking in-house, they're doing it for free, but having them in-house, ultimately, a lot of these are going to go to auction. I think if you ask them in hindsight, they'd probably say that they wish they raised the $50 per card minimum. And
I think it should have been minimum of 100. 50 was you could send anything in for 50.
And I did. Just because I think I sent 700 cards, and some amount of that was my personal collection that I've been over the past year. I've been back and forth. Do I want to sell it? Do I want to keep it? Several months ago, I became too uncomfortable. Probably almost a year ago now, I became too uncomfortable with how much value I had where I kept it, and I moved a lot of it to the bank vault. So I'm like, why pay to have a safe deposit box, or why pay to have external secure storage when I can send it to these guys and they'll store it for free forever? And then if and when I decide I want to sell it, 1 click away, it'll be in the next monthly auction. Another service, they actually have flash auctions, I think they call them. And so in the vault, there's the PWCC auction house account, and that's for your monthly auctions. And there's the PWCC vault account. So that can run, I could auction, like I sent my PSA 9 base first Charizard there. I could click a button and auction that flash auction at any point. I could put it in one of their monthly auctions. They have this new thing coming up that's not released yet, but premier auctions. I think items need to be 50,000 or more. And that one would be borderline right now. I think they'd take it given what it is, but technically I think it's closer to 40. But yeah, just a lot of options. And then it's not like a permanent thing. It's reversible. So if and when I decide I want any of those cards back, I pay the shipping fee to get it back. Like there's no, as far as I know, I'm pretty confident that there's no like percentage fee to get it back. It's just shipping back to me. So that's like the whole 3 free promotion, which unfortunately is gone, but you can still submit to them. The vault, I kind of outlined the fees for that. And if you don't want to do the vault, if you just want to submit to an auction, their auction fees, we mentioned earlier that eBay caps. PWCC does not cap. So if you sell like a premier item, if you sell an item that goes for PSA 9 base first Charizard goes for 40 grand, you thought eBay fees were high, 8%. So you'd pay. And to me, I mean, I think the Pokemon community goes through cycles, and maybe reality goes through cycles too. But like for a while, PWCC was, oh, they're the best. They get the best prices on everything. And then sentiment changed, and maybe some real data points changed. Oh, go to PWCC for bargains. I would never sell there. Everything's a deal.
Yep.
So like at certain times in history, they would more than pay for their own 8% fee, just in the premium that you'd achieve. I mean, there were times where you'd see 5 buy it nows for a card at 40 grand, and this card would go for 50. And
Oh yeah.
so it there's a give and take, and there's some things to be said about how they list things, and sometimes you'll have a dozen of your same card ending within seconds of each other. So
Yep.
there's anybody who's familiar with PWCC, there are gripes and there's concerns, but I think they're a very good option, specifically for people who found, I've never sold anything before. I'm afraid to take the risk of selling this $1,000 item that I couldn't afford to lose. So them taking an $80 fee to take all your concern away is, I think, a reasonable fee to charge, because again, you're going to be paying, or I guess $1,000 item wouldn't be 80. It would be, I don't know what the fee is at 1,000, but
No, I think you're right there. 8 or no, yeah.
it would be,
Something around there.
it starts at 15% for under $200 items.
Yep.
And then certain search, like I think if you sell a card for $20, I think you get almost nothing, because there's like a $5 or a $10 base fee and then some percentage. But I think they're a great option along the same lines as Troll and Toad, just like offloading some of the labor, some of the work, the customer service, the fulfillment.
Yep.
And I don't know if they'll ever do anything like that again, but that three free promo was just unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about sending them some stuff for that. I never ended up doing that though, myself personally. But that was an absurdly good deal that they had going on right there. The other things that I wanted to mention about PWCC were with the PWCC vault, you don't have to do auction format. You can throw your stuff up as a buy it now format, which I thought was a good idea, because you can send some whatever you have to the vault, and you do have the option to put it on eBay for a semi-high price. Say it's something that you're hesitant on selling, you can throw it up for a buy it now or best offer price and just kind of hold out until someone makes a decent offer that you're willing to accept. So it doesn't have to be an auction format where you're kind of it's kind of a mystery of where the price will end up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up.
Yep. And then the other thing with the like the PWCC auction blocks and their auctions in general, I think it's actually a good value for what you're getting. Obviously you do have all there are some complaints about those same items ending within seconds of each other. But I don't know what they could do to actually fix that when you consider how many cards they're getting every month. I don't really, aside from having a whole separate auction, I don't think there's much they can do about that. Because
I don't know how closely. Sorry to interrupt, but
no problem.
One of the recent auctions, I forget if it was the last one or the one before that, there were like 2,000 BGS graded German base set cards.
I remember that. Yep.
I think, and people might think I'm crazy for this, but I think they need to value their time more. In that 3 free promo, like you said, the minimum should have been like 200 or something.
Yeah.
I think they should make the fee below, if it sells below $50, thank you for the card. 100% fee.
Yeah.
Literally, like people might think that's drastic, but you've got a company that they're getting inundated with just these cheap cards because the fees they're setting are just too low, and I took advantage of it. I sent hundreds of just, they're mostly all worth more than 50, but to me, like, that's not good business for them. Uh, they they sell these $100,000, $300,000 cards and make tens of thousands of dollars of commission. Why are they bothering with 2,000 German cards that might average $50 a piece,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're taking home $10 a piece or whatever? Like, make the fees drastically high, under $100, and then the high end are reasonable. Keep them there. That's my solution.
But then
um,
on the same token with that, how long is it taking them to actually create that auction? I think they're making a good amount of money on those lower end cards, because all they're doing, they're copying the label, the graded card label, into the item title. They do take high res scans of the front and back, which that does take time. That's probably the most time consuming part.
I
But then
think that
aside from that, the description is all the same. It's
I
just
think they're pictures, not scans. I
oh
think they
really?
have. I think that I might be remembering that incorrectly, but there's some guys in the Discord and on E4 who work for them or who have some relationship with them, and I think there's a guy who actually has been a part of the intake process. Because scanning, to get a high res scan, you're talking. And I don't have a great scanner, but it's like a minute per card or something. It's
It takes
substantial
forever.
when you're taking in. I mean, I sent 700 cards, so that would be a guy for over a full day if it's a minute per
Yeah.
card. I think they have a camera that's just, even
Oh,
then
it
though,
does make
like,
sense. Yeah.
to take in a $40 card and to have a few different people handle it, and then to get a $10 commission or whatever it is, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I
when you multiply that $10 commission by how they usually have like 40, 50,000 auctions.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
a ton of money right there.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know how much effect it has, but like the dilution, and you lose a little bit of customer satisfaction. Because I know there was a lot of negative opinions on that whole, hey, I drew the short straw and I submitted my 50 cards from my collection the month
Yep.
that some guy, and the cards that I sent, I'm gonna never do more than like 20 or 30 per month, like per month's auction.
Hmm.
But some people just throw like 2,000 cards in a single auction and just let it ride.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think this next auction we have. I think it's like 3,500 Pokemon cards. So it's another huge auction.
Yeah,
But
I've had like, just, I sent them everything I had graded in my inventory pretty much, and then some of my collection, but I had plans for the year to just do like 20 cards per month, like just things I have a lot of, or just random obscure things. Just again, time is my biggest constraint, just to offload some of that
yeah,
work on them. And I've found good results so far. Like I said, you occasionally, I'll have a buy it now in my own store for 100, and I'll have a card in the auction and it'll go for 110 or something.
oh
And
yeah, no, you definitely see that. And that's not like a rare occasion either. You definitely see that every once in a while.
yeah,
The PWCC will command a premium over some random other eBay seller,
yeah,
because they do have a huge reach as well with their email marketing, and people know that they have a good reputation, so they'll exclusively buy from these auction houses like PWCC versus dealing with the hassle of some random eBay seller.
yeah.
The one more thing about the vault. I actually had my first international buyer. He wanted me to ship something to the vault for him. Which, if you're international, which I know on my channel, I have like 2 viewers that are international. But but if you are international, the vault's a great option, because it's if you purchase something from someone in the U.S. It's being shipped domestically, so you don't have to worry about any of your customs fees or import duties or whatever that is. And they store it for however long that you want it. to be stored. If you want to come to the US and pick up once you accumulate a ton of stuff, you can avoid paying those fees, which is huge in some cases.
And I mean, that's a consideration even domestic, because I mean, I live in New
Yep.
York. Our sales tax in my county is like almost 10%. So Oregon is a 0% sales tax state. If you ship your cards there, you pay no sales taxes.
Yep.
If you're doing things as a legitimate business and you have the proper paperwork on file with eBay, items purchased for resale, I don't pay sales taxes on anyway. So
Yep.
if you're someone who's doing resale without doing it the whole way, I would make the argument, do it proper, and then you can not pay sales taxes the proper way.
Yeah.
But that is a consideration. I've sold to friends through to the PWCC vault address that are international. I haven't shipped there a ton, but I've shipped there several times.
Yeah, no, like I said, this was my first time. It was a buyer, or it was a guy in Germany who asked me to ship his order to the vault there. So that was a first for me. I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely a good perk right there. If you are international, or if you don't want to have to worry about paying the sales tax and get free, or basically free, it's super cheap storage in a super secure facility.
Yeah.
Definitely don't have to worry about someone coming in and stealing your cards with what they have there.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I had. Did you have anything else there that you wanted to add?
No, I think we hit all of our points there. I think that does it.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Definitely make sure, if you have a question, leave it below in the comments, and way things are going, we'll definitely be able to answer your question, because last two videos we only received 2 or 3, so definitely leave those questions. Like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. And one other thing I did want to mention. If you want to get the ad-free experience of watching this podcast, check out Dan's channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, and if you have a question and you want to make sure that it is really stands out from the rest, I haven't had a question asked on my channel yet. So you'll be you might be the only comment. You'll really stand out. You caught me off guard there. I had one other thing I was gonna say. I don't even remember now.
Yeah, I gotta bring a notepad to because there were the few times where I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh man, I can't remember either. Oh yeah, just you mentioned any questions as far as that you want us to answer at the front end of our next podcast. Also,
Yep.
ideas. As of right now, we don't
Yep.
have anything firmly planned for the main topic. But if you have any suggestions for a main topic that you'd like to see, feel free to do that as well. We mentioned at the start that we were going to do this as a monthly thing, and just to get out there, we've been doing every 2 weeks, and I think we've both agreed that it's felt like a good duration between them right now, and I think we're going to target that at least for the next few. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out. 2 weeks from now, hopefully have a new one out there. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you all later.
See you in a couple weeks.